afraid to turn out the lights? Is there something you're scared of? What's there out in the dark? Make sure to keep all your windows locked. Do you surrender? Try to stay awake. These walls you can't escape. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here. Oh, anywhere but here. Wanting something good to come, waiting for things to run away from. Are you just hiding? Yeah, walking
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well. I agree with that 100%. It does not matter who the host is. Today is Monday, February the 7th of 2022, day 38th of the year, and only 327 days left to go. I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods, depending on what the hell you have going on, of course. We are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do things at, that other place.
Radio.
Oh, good old Radio Big. So how was your weekend? Did you do anything fun? Did you do anything exciting? Did you do anything that you should be calling your mama about and letting her know exactly what happened? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I am always curious on what happens over the weekends. So let's start talking right away, because you know that this is going to be one of these days where we start talking a little bit about everything, because that's what happens on this show. So let's go ahead and do that right away as we are hanging this morning, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do, because that's going to be important. So let's start talking right away. Saturday was National Shower with a Friend Day. Don't know about that, but hey, that was part of the trends that was going on. So maybe you were lucky enough to shower with a friend, depending on what you were wanting to do. Yeezy was trending on Saturday as Kim Yee divorce drama. More about that a little bit later on. Sunday was National Chopsticks Day, and also the Pro Bowl took place on Sunday. Apple juice landed on Twitter's top 10s to trend on Sunday as users argued over whether or not the beverage tastes good. More tweets lean towards it being pretty good drink. So I guess that was something to talk about. And then also Twitter users remembered that the late Bob Marley and Ronald Reagan on Sunday, as Marley would have been 77 and Reagan would have been 111. So there you go. Some things going on inside of the world as things were circulating and going around and about and all that kind of fun stuff. because I guess that's just kind of the way that the cookie crumbles. So there you go. As we are talking on this lovely Monday. So did you get anything exciting going on over the weekend for you, or how did it go? How was it? So let's talk about it, because when we come back on Mondays, we always love to talk about the movies. We love to talk about what was going on with the charts. So let's talk about that real quick. Let me give you some numbers from the box office, because let's do that before we get into some feature story news, because why not do that, of course. So real quick, at number 10 was Wolf and the Lion at $675,000. At number 9, at the 355 or 355 at 700,000. That was down from the 6th spot. At number 8 was American Underdog, down from the 7th spot from the previous week. At number 7 was Redeeming Love, down from the number 4 spot at $1 million. At number 6 was The Kingsman at $1.1 million, down from the number 5 spot. Sing 2 with $4.1 million, down from the 3 spot. At number 4 was Scream at $4.7 million, down from the 2nd spot. At number 3 was Spider-Man No Way Home with $9.6 million, down from the number 1 spot. At number 2 was Moonfall at $10 million. That was new to the box office over the weekend. And at number 1, the number 1 movie was Jackass Forever. I just guess you just can never get enough Johnny Knoxville. So that was at the number 1 spot with $23.5 million. So anyways, if you're new to the show, this is kind of how the lay of the land goes. We talk a little bit about what's going on inside of the world. We talk about safety. We talk about the news. We jump back and forth. We make people happy. We make people mad, all that kind of fun stuff. And then we get moving and grooving and all of those other things as well. So let me bring in my friends from Feature Story News and let them tell you what exactly is going on inside of that world, because I think you're going to want to know. No, seriously, I really think you're going to want to know.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Ottawa's mayor has declared a state of emergency over truckers' protests in Canada's capital. Jim Watson says demonstrators against COVID restrictions now outnumber police. He describes the current situation as completely out of control. Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie, should be off limits in criticism of the government. That's the message from Health Secretary Sajid Javid, as Carrie Johnson claims there's been a brutal campaign against her by former aides to the Prime Minister. She's released a statement saying she plays no role in government, despite claims to the contrary in a new book. Health Secretary Sajid Javid.
These reports, I've got to say, they really do concern me, because I just happen to think that any politicians, any party, that their partner should be off limits. It's not about the partner, it's about the politician. And, by all means, have a go at me, talk to me, say what you like. But I consider my wife would be off limits. And I think this is very undignified and unfair.
Schools and colleges are reopening in India's capital after nearly 2 years of COVID-19 disruptions. It comes as the country recorded its lowest daily caseload in a month on Monday, sparking hopes the third wave may have peaked. Ishan Garg reports from New Delhi.
Delhi and 4 other states are resuming physical classes in schools and universities. In schools, students of standard 9th to 12th are allowed for now. More junior students would be allowed to resume schooling in a week. The Delhi government has said that online classes will still be available for those who need it. But as cases of COVID-19 drop to a month low, many states across the nation are expected to reopen schools. Experts say the pandemic has resulted in nearly 80 million students losing the ability to recognize numbers and letters. They hope this can be undone in 2 years if schools are able to resume uninterrupted by the pandemic. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
The Hong Kong government's issuing widespread COVID-19 testing orders in a bid to stop the city's latest coronavirus outbreak. Health authorities say there are hundreds of transmission chains in the community. Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong reported 342 new COVID-19 infections on Sunday, all of them local cases. That's indicative of a shift in recent weeks from there being only a handful of imported cases from overseas arrivals each day to hundreds of locally transmitted cases with no clear source of infection. Health authorities are trying to combat the spread by issuing mass testing orders for anyone who has visited specific premises where new cases have been recorded, and then quarantining those people who test positive. Strict social distancing measures are also being extended at public places such as restaurants. Critics of the process say the government needs to adopt a more flexible approach in order to allow daily life and the economy to get back to normal.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking more today at the strain in the relationship between the US and Germany over Ukraine. The new German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has refused to supply Ukraine with lethal weaponry to assist in its defence, and even blocked the Baltic states from providing German-supplied weaponry in their possession to Ukraine. And Berlin was widely derided for offering the government in Kiev 5,000 military helmets, while privately pushing back against some of the sanctions President Biden is planning to impose against Russia if an invasion occurs. What's going on? Jim Lindsay is with the New York-based Council on Foreign Relations.
There are clearly tensions in the transatlantic relationship. It's not just between the two sides of the Atlantic, but also within Europe as well. The Germans have had a long-standing policy of not sending lethal aid into war-torn countries. Many Germans would argue that they think a large-scale Russian invasion is unlikely. So I would imagine the president and the chancellor are going to see if they can come up with a common script that will emphasize how much they share in common in their assessments, in their concerns, and try to take the focus away from where they disagree or where they have contending views.
But however the two leaders sugarcoat it, there are difficulties in the relationship between Washington and Berlin. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Ottawa's mayor has declared a state of emergency over truckers' protests in Canada's capital. Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie, should be off limits in criticism of the government, says Sajid Javid. Schools and colleges are reopening in India's capital after nearly 2 years of COVID disruptions, and the Hong Kong government's issuing widespread COVID-19 testing orders in a bid to stop the city's latest outbreak. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Someone being bullied online, you can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you're listening to something magical, all right. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's definitely something. We'll call it that way. Anyways, let's take a look. 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing our move and groove here on this lovely Monday. Yes, lovely Monday, as we are doing everything and going back into the normal motion of the ocean and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, we're here to talk about what's going on inside of the world of the news and the world of safety. So let's get those things started for you right now. Big tech comes for freedom. So take a listen to this. This weekend was a wild weekend for censorship. Fought along two converging fronts. This is what it consisted of. It felt like GoFundMe hijacked the more than $10 million raised for the support of the Canadian trucker convoy, and Spotify came hard for Joe Rogan as the outrage mob tries to silence him. So let's talk a little bit about everything that was going on. So here we go. Late Friday, crowdfunding platform GoFundMe announced that the Ottawa police had asked it not to disperse more than $10 million in funds to organizers of the truckers' protests there, and that they would comply with their request. People could still get refunds, but the process to do so was convoluted and very time consuming. So take a listen to that. So that was kind of the first thing. So people donated to a GoFundMe for the people that are actually protesting in Ottawa. The police said, let's not move forward with it. GoFundMe said, okay, we're going to go ahead and not give them the money. And then now if you wanted to do, let's get the money back request type of thing, because you had donated. Well, now this is where it's going to get a little bit cray-cray. So creepy. The collusion between GoFundMe and the Canadian government isn't a conspiracy theory. The Ottawa police admitted to it with a tweet that sent out on Friday evening. Says, we want to thank at GoFundMe for listening to the concerns of the city and police service. The decision to withhold funding of these unlawful demonstrations is as important step as we call on crowdfunding sites to follow. So there's more to it. Rather than provide refunds to donors, GoFundMe announced that the funds would instead be distributed to charity. So think about this. So all of a sudden you had funded something for maybe potentially something that you believed in, something you agreed in, something that you wanted to do. And now all of a sudden you come to find out that the funds that you had allocated to do X, Y, and Z, the platform said, cut it, because we are not going to be issuing the funds to where you said you wanted to send them. So here we go. Rallying the troops, the very well organized trucker movement immediately began not only to demanding refunds, but also calling their credit card processing companies, accusing GoFundMe of fraud. So listen to this. GoFundMe gets hit with an additional fee each time that a credit card company collects the money back, with more than $100,000 or 100,000 donors and a $15 fee for each chargeback. GoFundMe would be out more than $1 million. GoFundMe got wise to the protester strategy and announced that the refunds would be automatically to take place between 7 to 10 days. So think about that. You have 100,000 people that are requesting refunds, and you didn't actually process them, and all of a sudden they're saying, "Hey, we got a little iggy going on over here, and we want our moolah back." And you're not giving us our moolah, so our credit card company is going to be the intermediary and jump in. So meanwhile, a Christian-based crowdfunding competitor of GoFundMe, Give, Send, Go, ordered to help the process of new donations for the truckers and received over $1 million in just 12 hours. So interesting twist there. But wait, within hours of stepping up, Give, Send, Go announced that their servers were offline from the denial of service attack to move by the internet weirdos to flood traffic to their site and make it unusable. Throughout the day of Sunday, Give, Send, Go site was only intermittently available. Worth asking, maybe the truckers burned the stores to the ground and robbed them. Would they keep the money? Then also many protesters did during the summer of 2020. Now, of course, that's sarcasm there, but it's something to think about in regards of how these things actually ended up taking. So speaking out of violence, video emerged on Saturday of at least one trucker getting it run over by an angry counter protester in his car. This happens when the truckers have been basically accused by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of committing violence acts themselves. On the ground in Ottawa, a prominent YouTuber spent 4 hours live streaming from the heart of the protest, demonstrating that it was celebrating solidarity and overwhelmingly peaceful, only to have it taken down because of copyright claim. Warner Brothers music group demanded the removal of because 12 seconds of music was incidentally playing in the background during the hours of streaming. Around the globe, trucker convoys with similar goals, ending COVID restrictions, have been mobilizing in different areas throughout different countries, while American convoys, European Union convoys remain in the works. So what do you think about this? What do you think about the whole convoy thing? Because as you can tell, it is a little bit of everywhere. I mean, let's just be realistic. This sounds like a major cluster. Well, it's a major cluster F. Let's just call it what it is, with it going everywhere and people talking about this. So the lack of attention that some wanted for it. Seems like it's not actually happening. It seems like there's a lot more attention and a lot of stuff moving around inside of there. So it's definitely something to think about as we are talking on this lovely Monday. Let's continue talking about some other things and take a wild guess on what I'm going to talk about next.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
So, of course, Joe Rogan has had a rough couple of days. He's long been a pariah of anti-freedom crowd for hosting interviews with doctors and scientists who have questioned the wisdom of lockdown, masking, and vaccine mandates. Last week, a handful of musicians came forward demanding that Spotify take down their music and if they were going to continue to host the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. In a bit of damage control, Rogan posted an Instagram video that stood by the interviews, but also acknowledged that that he's hearing some of the feedback and would take into consideration moving forward. And it wasn't enough because it never is enough, according to people. On Friday, Spotify moved dozens of Rogan's episodes that featured double splendid wrong think that about COVID, but that's not true. They removed a lot of episodes that had some other controversial stuff inside of there. Then the outrage mob came for another angle, resurfacing on instances of Rogan's using the N-word, in which he was quoting others' use of it, not directly to anybody. The mob said that they should be grounds of Rogan's dismissal from Spotify. But wait, the internet never forgets. A video quickly went viral then of Senator Joe Biden doing the same thing, paraphrasing someone's use of the word as well. We have already N-word mayors, and we don't need any more N-word big shots, Biden said in the clip, reading from a piece of paper of the Senate hearing. It gets worse. Twitter slapped a sensitive content warning on tweets that shared the video of Biden, but not the one that actually did anything with Rogan. Worth remembering, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, frequently used the same slur in text messages back in 2018, directing it to friends as he was quoting them and others of use. Also remembering asking, there was a lot of other things that came about in that timeline that had information about Hunter Biden. Still worth remembering, in 1996, Jimmy Kimmel released a Christmas song parody in which he did a Snoop Dogg impression, and he used the word several times, and people are still talking about that. Or no, they're not, one or the other. Also worth remembering some other stuff. Last week, The Rock went to bat for Joe Rogan, calling him a longtime friend despite disagreements. Again, that wasn't enough. As the N-word fiasco came about, Dwayne Johnson sent another vague, non-statement social media message about educating regarding the use of Rogan's use of the N-word. Worth noting that while hosting on Saturday Night Live years back, Johnson joked about the robot designed to molest children. He once, in social media video, jokingly called John Cena a bloated transvestite Wonder Woman. In other words, using someone's sacred sexual orientation in a mocking slur. Are these acceptable jokes? So you see, it's kind of weird on how this whole thing's coming about. And it must be noted that selective outrage and when language has purely political goals and has nothing to do with any kind of morality. The pro-freedom crowd who point out the hypocrisy to do so expose pinpointed mobilization or cancel culture to erase free thoughts from their carefully constructed narrative. Meanwhile, the Washington Post published last week an article that shows users how to move their music list and playlist from Spotify to another music service. For example, Amazon Music. Both Amazon and the Washington Post, of course, are owned by Jeff Bezos. So, I don't know. It seems like a wonderland of weird shit that's going on as of late. And of course, some people are not going to be happy that we're talking about this. And some people will be upset. And some people will be happy. And it's just a weird time. I mean, let's just be realistic. It's a weird time. It's like cancel culture, people being pissed off of people talking to other people. I don't know. It's so weird on how conversations kill lately in regards of, hey, you have a conversation. Is it misinformation? No, it's sometimes people giving their opinion based on the data that they have. So I don't know. Do you think Joe Rogan's doing the wrong thing? Do you think The Rock did the right thing? If we go back and forth of, can we just move forward in a conversation? At what point do we go, okay, yes, as platform holders, as people that are going out there and sending out information, yes, there is some level of responsibility, but it is a conversation piece. I mean, you have to look at it from that particular fashion to some extent. Believe me, it is impossible to sit here and go, oh, yes, everything that we talk about on these shows are based and driven based on science. Some of it is, some of it isn't. But I think that we should be able to have a conversation. I mean, we should be able to have conversations, but at some point, when do you go, hey, you can't disseminate every single thing that someone says? Seriously.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of this lovely world of ours. And for the desert with the crap sandwich, conservative writer Michelle Mencken and her husband have made a ban from Airbnb because she spoke at an event last fall in Nashville of a group called American Renaissance and booked an Airbnb for her stay. Airbnb deemed it as a hate group and per the terms of service does not let people use the platform to attend hate events. The standard for hate events is obviously entirely up to Airbnb. Worth noting, just imagine targeted paranoid digging and records matching would have to be done by Airbnb employee to collaborate the whole making speech to stay at an Airbnb. So I guess to some extent, if you kind of really think about it, and don't get me wrong here, Airbnb had to do a level of stalking just to figure the shit out. I mean, think about it. How in the hell would you know that I stayed somewhere because I was doing a speech somewhere else? I mean, it's a weird thing. It is a weird thing there. Well, they stayed at one of our places because they were hanging out with a hate group. I mean, I don't know anything about the group. I'm just having the conversation here on what's being reported. Let's continue talking. COVID stats for the day: more people under the age of 50 were murdered in D.C. in 2021. 195 that have died due to the what? This has to be wrong. That has to be wrong information inside of there. Should we take a look at what COVID stats are for today? I think we should. Let me pull up the little numbies here, because there is a website that will give you the true track of what is going on with the numbers of COVID. And of course, I am going to find everything except what I'm looking for at the moment, because that's normally how it goes when I'm starting to look for some of these things. And of course, because I want to give it to you in as real time as possible, my phone is now pulling up the site that I'm looking at or attempting to get to. Anyways, we'll keep it at that. Anyways, let's continue talking. It is currently 31 minutes past the top of the hour, so I think it is time to do so. It is time to do our shin of digs, our digs of shin, just in regards of having everything moving, and let's talk about our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so if you took a look around this morning, you probably noticed right away what exactly we were talking about, what exactly we were going to be swinging for the fences today and all that kind of great stuff. So if you did not see the title, I will give it to you. Don't be a martyr for safety. And some people are going to sit back and go, what the hell did you just say? Yeah, you heard me. You heard what I said. Exactly what I said. There is no doubt about it. So let's make sure that we're clear. Let's make sure that we're 100% understanding of what I'm saying, because I think that this might cause some confusion here. Martyr, a person who is killed because of their religious or other beliefs. In a noun format. In a verb format, kill someone because of their beliefs. So when I say don't be a martyr for safety, is exactly that. We talk about our programs. We talk about our physiological, our psychological approach to certain things. I almost said something else. Our psychological approaches to things. But what we have to remember is that when we talk about this lovely world of ours, when it's related to the world of safety, we have to make sure that we understand that we don't become martyrs for this, because nobody wants to die. That's for sure. That's not something that you want to be known for. I mean, let's think about it. Okay, the martyr for safety because you died at something. I mean, let's talk about it. If we drive these programs and push them forward, we talk about this all the time. Everything that is going on inside of the world, we go ahead and we talk about these are the safeguards that need to be in place. People might have a better understanding of it. And the whole martyr aspect, well, it becomes worse. How many times have we actually had someone who has passed away inside of the organization that all of a sudden has become the poster person for X event? And I don't mean that to be an asshole. I mean that to be honest. Think about this. We think about X, Y, and Z. When it comes to NASCAR, you think about the Daytona 500. You think about automatically when Dale Earnhardt died. Remember, he died on the track because of the harness thing that he did not have, because he was not a fan of it. But all of a sudden, when that happened during that time frame, a lot of people made reference to it, that was the Dale Earnhardt rule when it moved forward. And we take a look at these things on when they happen, and we have someone who we associate with it. We have someone that, oh, this happened to them, so now all of a sudden they have become the martyr for that particular portion. And as we speak all the time, the goal is always to make sure that we get people home better than what they were when they first arrived. That's always the goal. That's always the intention. But listen, from time to time, all of a sudden we put these weird constraints on it that something catastrophic has to happen before we're able to move forward with X program. I mean, let's just be realistic. If we're going to sit here and lie, we could do that, but we also know that that's exactly how it goes. Most of the people will not interact with anything related to safety unless something major occurs. And emotional events normally have a response for about 6 weeks. Sorry, but it's the truth. So, how can we lay forward this program? How can we lay forward what we're doing? How can we lay forward what needs to take place? Those are the conversations that we need to have, opposed to it being a catastrophic event. Now, we've had discussion about better questions. We've had discussions about learning teams. We've had discussions about things and how they should be better inside of your organization. And maybe those are the things that we should think about. Maybe those are the things that we need to acknowledge and go, okay, this is going to be the better aspect of what needs to be done. Opposed to it just being, okay, we have to have a catastrophic event, and now we're able to move forward with it. I mean, don't get me wrong, from an emotional standpoint, that is the quickest way of getting things done. Sorry, but it's the truth. But if we look at it and go, drive the program, ask the questions, go to the people. Go to the people, go to the people, go to the people. Because I'm going to tell you, some of the smartest individuals inside of your organization are the people that work on the floor. They're the people that work out in the field. They're the people that are doing the work. I will tell you there are more SOPs, standard operating platforms, that are written without the use of the people that actually do the work than the people that actually do. Listen, some average Joe or Jane who sits in an office that doesn't have a clue of what's going on inside of the organization, writing a standard operating platform or SOP is probably one of the worst wild times that person can have because they have no clue on what's going on. Seriously. So why waste your time? Why waste your money inside of it? Listen, I'm not asking you to go be a martyr for safety because nobody wants to die. It's a simple process. We don't want you dead. But also at the same time, too, we need to have these conversations where we have the understanding of we need to do something to make it better. We need to do something to be able to move forward. And the only way to do it is by asking those better questions. Maybe it's by doing safety differently. Think about it in that fashion. But then again, what do I know? Just the guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
Try to stay awake. These walls you can't escape. Here's one for the lonely hearts, for the ones that fear the dark. You better run out of here. Bet you can't look the other way. Here's one for the broken road. That's the only one you know. You better run out, truth or dare. Get me out, take me anywhere but here.
Okay, there you go. 42 minutes past the top of the hour. That's Anywhere But Here by Easton.
Here's one for the lonely hearts.
The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. Thank you for Easton for allowing us to play this one here on the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, there you go. Let's get back into the roll and the move and the groove of things, because I think it's time to do that, because those things are always important as we are talking and doing everything that we get to do. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I'm going to tell you throughout the whole show, and it's about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences of people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800 273-8255 or text the word TALK to 741-741, or you can always go to their website at afsp.org. That is afsp.org to find out more information. That's the way that it goes. So anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. I know before we got into the move and groove thing, I did not bring in Johnny Smalls for him to tell you what happened on Friday inside of the Market Beat. So let's do that right now.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, February 7th, 2022. Equities rebounded last week and looks like they might keep moving higher. The move was aided by expansionary economic data and earnings, but there's still risk for the market. The NFP report was surprisingly strong, and coupled with robust wage increases, that should give additional impetus to the FOMC. The chatter now is to expect a 50 basis point rate hike in March, and even more aggressive rate hikes later in the year. This week will be all about the CPI data. The earnings session is still underway, but there will be a few surprises now, with more than 50% of the S&P 500 having already reported. The CPI is expected to expand, but at a slower rate than the previous month. But there is risk the year-over-year figures could be hot and provide even more reason for the Fed to hike rates. In that scenario, an overly aggressive Fed could cause the economy to stall. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one of what exactly is going on inside of the world of the news, because that is always important. Anyways, what words to Wordle with? Wordle has definitely taken over the internet, and one of the keys to its success in the game is good starter, a word that contains the most common letters, as many vowels as possible. With that in mind, here are some of the opening words that will help you according to expert. Wow, we're gonna screw this up real quick here. Soar, the word for young hog that to determine to be the best starting word by engineer at Slack who used the data to discern the best strategy. Rose, a guy who hosts Microsoft Excel YouTube tutorial channel, determined that SEAR and O are the most 5 common letters. So here he figures that using the 5 letters will pretty much, take it over. Another tip is never end the word with an S. There are no plural words in the possible solution list, so there you go. How exactly does one become a Wordle expert? The game only's been around for like 5 minutes. I'll say that Wordle has taken over the internet. The last thing that I remember getting this much attention online involved a big bear butt cheek and a big bear butt cheek. Yeah, so that's about the only thing that I know that ever got people that excited about.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
And I wonder how many people thought I meant bear like bear. So there you go. Okay, so here you go. Leaving her ex, Amazon executive chairman Jeff Bezos far behind in generosity department, Mackenzie Scott has donated $133.5 million to educational nonprofit and organizations to help students navigate issues inside and outside of the classroom, communities, and schools. Worked in 2,900 schools in America, reaching a total of 1.6 million kids. Their goal is to support students at risk of dropping out of them, provide resources to help young people to be successful. Partly because Scott's donation, CIS says that it will now be able to expand their operations since her divorce from Bezos. Scott has donated more than $8.5 billion to organizations focused on a range of issues, according to Forbes. Scott has given away approximately 18% of her fortune. Bezos, by comparison, has reportedly given away 1% in world of Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Scott. So there you go. An 800-mile, $78 journey brought a smiling snowman to Florida classroom full of kids when kindergarten teacher Robin Hughes realized almost that the kids in her classroom had never laid eyes on a frozen precipitation after reading a book about snow. She asked her sister Amber of Louisa, Kentucky, if she could mail her some of that stuff off chance it's called snow that comes up there every year. Fast forward to January the 8th, the hearing of the Kentucky snowstorm. The teacher asked the sister to build a snowman for her classroom, and thus Lucky was born with blueberry carrots and twigs for eyes and a nose. and arms. Sealed with a temperature-controlled package, ice luckily flew from the USPS to Riverview, Florida. Lucky was received by the school in utter wonderment of the children who Hugh says they wanted to touch him. And, of course, he came to life. Now Lucky is kept in a cold school cafeteria where he's brought into the classes to demonstrate the majesty of snow. By those kids who would like to return the favor, send some sunshine north. I'm sure people out there will really appreciate it. I mean, think about that for just one moment, for sure.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. There's some that. There's some this. I think we need to bring in Johnny Smalls once again. Him to give you the motivation minute for you can feel motivated. So let's do that right now. No, seriously, let's do that right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Sandy. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave for them if they were not yours." Wow, what an eloquent way of saying that. People nowadays say things like YOLO and that's hot. Somehow I really doubt we'll be quoting them in hundreds of years, but Marcus has it right. Think of all of the amazing things you are blessed with. Sometimes, when you take stock of the wonderful things you have, you can really appreciate them. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlessaMorgan.com. Our liver not only plays a huge part in detox, but also in metabolism, how we burn fat, and how we get in shape. A couple of things that make the damaging impact on liver is too much self-medication with over-the-counter drugs, especially acetaminophen such as Tylenol, and of course alcohol. In order to fight toxic residue produced by these substances, the liver has to create glutathione, and there is only so much glutathione that liver can create before it's unable to fight toxicity. The other damaging factor is lack of sleep. Liver cells get regenerated during sleep, which is crucial for overall health. If you're looking to give your liver a boost, curcumin and turmeric supplements create a powerful antioxidant effect that gives liver a break from fighting toxic substances, help to regenerate liver cells, and increase glutathione. For additional resources, check out AlessaMorgan.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Ottawa's mayors declared a state of emergency over truckers' protests in Canada's capital. Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie, should be off limits in criticism of the government, says the Health Secretary. Schools are reopening in India's capital after nearly 2 years of COVID disruptions, and the Hong Kong government is issuing widespread COVID-19 testing orders in a bid to stop the city's latest coronavirus outbreak.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. A lot of stuff. 52 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Monday. Apple Records. This year, Apple will launch a record-breaking number of new products, and now the company has accidentally revealed the first of them. According to 91 Mobiles, Apple has filed official model numbers for 2 new iPads and 3 versions of budget iPhones, and adversely leaked their prices. According to the new Apple data filed, the 3 new budget iPhones will be listed at $300. The new iPad will go for between $500 and $700, and the other iPad will go for $300. Sure glad that I just paid $600 for a used one. So there you go. I'm just going to say that they are accidentally leaking the info about their own products. What does that say about their security? I mean, I'm just saying, just something to think about as we are talking for sure here.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R our safety show.
Okay, did you know IKEA is making a 3D printed vegan meatball? As you know, no trip to IKEA is complete without enjoying the company's iconic Swedish meatballs. Now, as an invite prospective candidates to join their expanding tech team in Europe, the company is serving up a 3D printed vegan meatball during a job interview as part of the newly launched Taste the Future recruitment campaign. IKEA has committed to offer 50% off plant-based meals. It's restaurants by 2025 as part of their effort to make health-conscious and sustainable options easy, desirable, and affordable. So think about that. You go to a job interview, somebody lays out a meatball, and the meatball all of a sudden looks a hell of a lot like a 3D printed one. What are you going to do? I have no clue. It will definitely be something to think about as we are hanging out and doing all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, no winner for Friday night's Mega Million drawing. Tuesday's drawing will be for $31 million jackpot or a $21 million cash payout. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for a $147 million jackpot or a $100.3 million cash payout. So, if you want to play the game, I guess you have the opportunity to do so. So, a lot of fun stuff going on inside of there. Anyways, 54 minutes past the top of the hour. At the top of the hour, I will be going over exclusively to Radio Big if you want to come out and hang out with me as we will do our fun stuff of hanging out and doing all the fun music stuff that we do up there. Anyways, in the world of sports, let's talk about it. The 2022 Beijing Olympics will be snowboarder Shaun White's last run at the gold. The 35-year-old announced his retirement at a press conference over the weekend, saying that in litany of injuries over the time that he has led to this decision that he will retire. He starts his competition in Beijing on Friday, so enjoy him now for the last time that apparently you're going to get to be able to hang out and see him do the things that he does. If you want an Olympic medal count, I'll give that to you real quick. After 2 days of competition, Russia has 1 gold, 2 silvers, and 2 bronze. Norway has 2 gold, 1 bronze. Austria has 2 silver, 1 bronze. Italy has 2 silver, 1 bronze. And the U.S. has 2 silvers. There is 12-hour time difference between China Standard Time and the Central Time. So as of Monday Central Time, Day 3 will be wrapping up in Beijing. So just as you are fully aware on what is going on, as we are talking about this in the time that we're talking about it right now. So let's continue real quick. If you're looking for some things that happened back on this date, let's take a look at some of those. Back in 2010, the New Orleans Saints beat the Indianapolis Colts at Super Bowl 44, 31-17. Drew Brees is named the MVP. If you're looking for some birthdays for today, here you go. Isaiah Thomas turns 33. Matthew Stanford turns 34. Ashton Kutcher turns 44. Steve Nash, 48. Essen Atkins turns 50. Chris Rock, 57. And Garth Brooks turns 60 today. So there you go. There are some birthdays. If you're looking for some reasons to celebrate, well, I'm sure we can always find some reasons to do that. National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. National Periodic Table Day. National Send a Card to a Friend Day. Wave all your fingers at your neighbor's day. So there you go. All kinds of fun stuff that you can celebrate if you're so inclined on doing so. 57 minutes past the top of the hour, so there you go. We're going to have to speed it up here. So if you need a random joke for the day, here's one. The best cure for insomnia is Monday morning. What is the craziest thing that you have ever done for money? Let's keep it PG here. Or is this a rated R safety show? I guess say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Let's see. If you need something for the water cooler, you can try this one. Question. A survey found this is the most common place for people to accidentally leave their cell phone. Where is it? A coffee shop. I guess I won't have that problem because I don't go to coffee shops, so I guess that's something to think about. So there you go. As we are done hanging out real quick right here, I will tell you a lot of people reached out to me about the episode that I did last week of the Safety FM mini of what is Project X. Well, I think you're going to have an answer a lot quicker than what you really suspect. I don't know if I should even go as far as saying that. But yeah, I'll just say that for the time being. Talking about Project X, I'm working on it today. Well, I'll say that. Maybe I shouldn't even say that much. I'm assisting with it today. Maybe I should put it into that particular fashion. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what we do here on the Rated R Safety Show, exclusively on Safety FM and RadioBig.fm. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for always being the most important part of the whole thing, and that is the listener, because definitely without you, we can't do what we do. That is for sure. If I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Hard work spotlights the character of people. Some turn up their sleeves, some turn up their noses, and some don't turn up at all. So think about it in that fashion. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Love you, mean it, and goodbye. Hopefully, I will see you at the Rated R Safety Show tomorrow. Or you can come over to Radio Big and hang out with me on Jay Allen in the mornings. See you soon.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.